angel wings. I saw that glitch. I was there for it. All right, howdy, folks. Welcome back. I told you I would be back, and here we are. So, let me get this. Whoops. Get some music out of there. Please, Lord. Thank you. All right. So here's our little thumbnail captured right here. Big reach of plasma reaching all the way out to your dark circular object out here. Okay. And over here on this side, you can see the back side of it right here, making this arch also in the instrumentation right here. Seems like there's another smaller one accompanying it, but going on right in here, whether it's these two little objects here or something going on right there. Can see it drawing all the plasma out over on this side. So there's your image for this moment here. And while I zoom out and get this loop playing, I'd like to thank you guys for taking a moment of your precious time to be a part of this precious, precious family. And if you stick around for the spiritual report at the end, you will indeed find out how precious this family is indeed and how precious you are to me. With that said, let's get the show on the road, shall we? Not much to look at. We have this event right here that came out of the Spire region right here. It's probably out of our sunspot region, our complex sunspot region. That's probably right about this point, right where my little arrow is right there on the sun. Okay, so here's your activity. Let's just kind of go through it really quick, frame by frame. You can see all the other stuff jumping around in the back, so we'll just kind of go right to this event and get through this. Okay, as it comes out, you can see all this plasma coming out, probably our object right about here, out in the front leading edge right there. And as it continues on out, you can see here, let's go over on this red side really quick and zoom in really quick over there. Here you can't see much, it's too washed out. But over here, we darken this up just a bit. Let me try. About there, and then we'll darken this. Now you can start to see some of your activity that's going on in there. Let me get these little lines out of the way. All right, about there. All right, so there's your activity going on, and you can see that it's, once I get this level and stuff, that it's these little objects that are, you know, draping plasma, bringing plasma out with them. Trying to get there we go. It's a little bit better. So here, back in there, it looks like it's a cluster of these smaller little objects, but you can see how they're bringing plasma, stretching it out there with them. Okay, I'm going to bring that back up. Zoom back out. Sometimes we go in too close, you can't see this stuff. It's not until you're further back sometimes, so that helps too. Zooming in sometimes and then pulling back too. So there you can see our activity going through there. And I'm going to go ahead and start this up and see if I can get just a tad bit better angle on this. There we go. Trying to get some of those lines out of the way. And what we can do is just zoom in on this red side really quick for you there. All right, so there's your event popping out of that region where we had all the spires growing and stuff. So, and that's where our sunspot is too as well. So let's come on over now to the solar ham. Please look, we have the solar ham. There it goes. It was baking. All right, first off, let's come up to the top, and our solar flux indice is at 222 now. We're up another 2 points. So a lot of twos up there, 222 and up 2 points. Meanwhile, our sunspot number is 163. We're up another 23. So we gained a bunch of small sunspots. All right. So there's probably another event coming in here pretty soon that we'll deal with that when it gets here. All right. But there's your solar flux indice for the moment. Now, if we can get zoomed in on this just a tad bit more, you can see here's our 3905 and 06 right here, this whole batch right here. And we also have this closer configuration. This could fire this way as well too. Okay, they're close too. So still kind of touchy in this area right here. Now, if we back on out here really quick, slide on over and scroll on down, you can see how flux we are. Ghost X-ray flux, that is. All right, so just try and get it a little bit clearer. I don't know on your end, but on my end, it still has wavy lines. Meanwhile, here's your activity for today. A lot more mellow than yesterday. Okay, you can see our little bumps here, there, not much. Here's a little activity going into tomorrow. If you would like, we could just take a little peek over here. If I zoom back out at this right here, but you guys probably don't want to see that, so we'll just refresh it and do it anyways. All right. Ooh, look at that right there. Oh, something shot out there. All right. Oh, let's pause on the opening frame, shall we? All right, so opening frame here, 036. Look at this configuration over here. Obviously, this teardrop shape peeling away. It looks like there was something darker here, and there's plasma dammed up behind it. See the V-shape, shadow of the ghost image right back here. Also, something round and circular coming out right here, bumping up against it, is what it looks like. Meanwhile, another little thing squirting out here, something going on up there. Let me just scroll down a little bit so I can grab a piece of this button. Ooh, yeah, you can see something circular and dark right in the center right there. Let's see if we can get one more. Oh, there it is right there. Bingo. We'll go ahead and zoom in on that really quick while we're here. Okay, you can see that there's obviously something that was out here that has dammed up this plasma. All right, there's another object back here. You can see its little magnetic field cleared out this zone right there. Let's get it a little bit brighter right there. Okay, so something right here, another one back behind it, pinching that, almost that pinch off effect again right there, effect. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull back out of there and continue on. Except I need right there. Okay, boom, boom. Meanwhile, look at this big spire region. You can see activity in this region here. Something gonna happen in there too. That little moon shooting through there. And then we got this. Look at this big, like flame, big spit of fire that comes out of here. Some kind of small little object moving really fast through there. And it's gone. You can see the little shadow image there, ghost image. So that one just kind of bing, moves through there really fast. Almost looks like a, let's get it right there. Zoom in. Whoops. Whatever this is right here, almost kind of looks cylindrical. Let's darken that up a little bit there. Whatever it is, it's not your typical round black object. Something right. We've seen plenty of UFO activity around the sun. You can also see another event going on there. But we've seen lots of UFO activity around the sun, so it could be one of those. I'll let you be the judge of this as well, okay? You guys are getting very mature at this, so just, you can come over to this instrument too and play around with this and use your filters, your zoom in, pick a frame. You saw something, you could come back and check it out. Meanwhile, this little guy popping out over here. Kind of hard to tell on the ghost image what was going on there too. But there's your activity already going into tomorrow. All right, so aren't you glad we took a little peek at what was going on there? All right, whoops, one more dimension back. All right, meanwhile, look at your 3-day geomagnetic forecast. It has changed. All clear for the 27th, but we're expecting G1 on the 28th, and this is a typo, it should be G2. Okay, so G2 possible on the 29th. So we have some geomagnetic energy from the CMEs coming our way. All right, meanwhile, X-flare potential still at 20%. There's your M9.4 from the other day. Meanwhile, your aurora is still very dim, your KP very low. There's not a lot of geomagnetic energy hitting the Earth right now, which is good because we don't need to be taking on anymore. This gets transferred to the poles, absorbed down to the core, and then it heats up down there and pressure builds, and we get that burp of pressure from down below the Earth's core coming up to the surface, creating volcanoes, SO2 emissions, earthquakes, all kinds of mayhem. All right. But not too much mayhem for right now. It's quiet, but pretty soon, starting the 28th, 29th, possible G2. And you know that sometimes when we predict G2 or something, it can be stronger sometimes. It surprises sometimes, okay? So no surprises here, though. So I think that's a typo. It should be G2. Meanwhile, down here at your sunspot regions, we have 3906, which we pointed out earlier, that's beta, gamma, delta, but now it's declining. Now it's declining. That event that we just saw happened at this region, and now it's declining. The other one that was beta, gamma, and delta was 05 here, and it's dropped down to beta, gamma, but it's still kind of growing. All right, so it dropped in a whole class down to beta, gamma. I think the little moons that are trailing along have it kind of growing, so it doesn't have the delta configuration, and the one that does have the delta configuration is declining. So take a little sigh of relief. It looks like these events, whatever might happen here, might be a little trailing satellites or moons or whatever. Okay. Whew. Now, according to NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center, a filament eruption on Monday in the southwest hemisphere that generated a coronal mass ejection is expected to pass just to the south of Earth. A minor G1 to moderate G2 geomagnetic storm watch was added beginning November 28th, should a glancing blow be observed as forecasted. More updates in the days ahead. All right, let's do some track-a-lacking since we're lacking the tracking. And here's impact on 29 right there. So we'll go ahead. Let me pop this one open first because it's the prettier one. All right, you can see your CME heading down this direction, not really heading at Earth. The other one that we looked at last night was heading at Earth and just a glancing blow and going to the south of it. So this is the latest one that we just looked at. It's an updated model. But what we can do is come over to this one. Click on it, please, Lord. Thank you. And we'll load up this little ditty. And while that's loading, let me thank you for being patient with your moment of time that you're giving me here. All right, as we see going along, here comes your CME coming out, glancing blow, impact right on the cusp of the 29th right there, okay? You can also see the north-south profile of it, how most of it went to the south right there. Let me just grab a hold of this thing. Come here, you. So see it going just to the south and just barely clipping this when you're looking down at the solar system from above. Here's the sun and here's the earth. So it's just clipping us and to the south around the 29th. So that could affect weather in the southern hemisphere or even in the northern hemisphere if we're having impact. Okay. Let me back out of this. Okay, here's a good little, well, you can see this blue one. Here we go. It's going to play it or not? That's okay. We don't need it. You can see it there. All right, so just really quick, below is an updated look at the sunspot regions of interest on Tuesday, along with an updated composite look at the variable solar disk, visible solar disk. Newly assigned AR 3910 is likely to return of old sunspot region 3897. Okay, so 3910 is now in view in the northwest quadrant. Our little square right there, you can see it popping up. Okay. Northwest quadrant. This region has been fairly stable with only occasional minor C flares since it produced the M9.4 flare early event Monday. Elsewhere, region 3905 and 6 continue to rotate into direct Earth-facing position, but appear to be showing some signs of decay and separation, probably due to our event taking place there. All right. So, despite this, they will remain a threat for at least moderate M flares and during the next 24 hours. Okay, 3910, new one. This whole region that we just looked at, rotating into Earth strike zone, but may have, since that last event, released a bunch of these, magnetic couplings and stuff, reducing the power of this thing. So, looks like the event might be tapering off. It might be over. Whew. Okay, moving on. We need to move on and get this one out of the way too. Thanks for bearing with me here. The blue avalanche update. If you guys all seen the blue little avalanche right here, that's pretty cool. And then there's this little movie here too. All right, the crushing of ice crystals, shattering nuclei and causing blue flashes. Come over and read this article. It's pretty cool. All right, so there's your blue flash in an avalanche. Now we need to come over and check out our Shuman resonance. If the Russians are still putting this info out. Okay, good, they are. We don't need Russian or English, we just need the chart. Okay, as you can see, we had some pretty good continuity for a while. A little bit of pressure built up. We start grinding. It's, reaching down to these frequencies up here. Remember, this is 040 down here, so it's kind of upside down, but reach down to these frequencies. It's not very intense, but it shows that there is pressure that has built up, and now the core and the shell are grinding slightly. And this does cause a little bit of irritation and your ears ringing and pain and different kind of side effects. It affects the animals as well, okay? So we had a smooth ride for a little while, a little bit of weakness in that zone. It's still there. It's still pretty much there, but it is a little weaker. But then we get back to decent continuity, just a little strong here and there with a little break. So the baby roller coaster. All right, now let's come on over to the null school. Get her schooled by the null. Get your null all schooled. Okay, really quick here, your intertropical convergence zone still kind of holding this configuration right here. We're going to be talking about this thing. I wasn't even going to go live tonight. I was going to watch wages, but I guess he didn't go. But this is the reason we want to go live tonight, because of this. See this little different vortex here? It's like two of them. There's one here and an elongated one. See what's going on here? And later when we come over to the thermals, you're going to see something that's going to blow your mind here. Okay, so that's our big vortex on the planet right now. This one has really diminished, okay, and has changed its configuration because of our earthquake and cooling waters along that area. Meanwhile, over here, are you looking at me? You look like a frog or something, huh? All right, there's that going on. Oh, Lord, you're just too much. All right. So there's these two vortexes going on over here, and something going on right around the nose right there or something. Okay, you can see a little bit of activity breaking up through this region, but we still have this fetch coming off of Africa right there that'll be kind of subduing any kind of hurricane production. All right, let's get over to the sandstorms. Really quick, you can see pretty good intense plumage right there in the center. Still blowing out across the Atlantic, just down to this latitude. And when we put these winds back on, you'll see it's right where this our whole vortex configuration is really just pulling it all along across the Atlantic. Also, we have this other branch that's reaching up and shoving sand way up into into the Mediterranean and Europe, and look at it going way back here up into there. This is an independent sandstorm right there. Meanwhile, here in Saudi Arabia, where I just showed you flooding there, they're also having sandstorms at the same time. Okay, and as we pull back, you can see the other eye. Both eyes are still there watching, lurking. Okay, so there's your sandstorms. There's an independent one going on down in Australia as well. They have their own issues, and South America a little bit too. These deserts down here along the backside of the Andes Mountains here. All right, so there is that in a nutshell. Get our SO2 report done. Okay, flip it around to your country divided. Every time you can see it right here, bleeding out on one side, perforations in the crust on the other. Every time. How does he do it? All right, you can see pretty good concentrations, getting a little darker in this region right here. Let's add some fire activity just in case there is. Yeah. What was this? All right here at this site, you can see we're getting fire activity because of this SO2 plume. This gas comes out of the ground super, super hot. And if there's any vegetation in the region, look at this. There's a couple more up here now. It'll cause spontaneous combustion of any kind of dry vegetation that's within a certain range of the emission site. Okay, so it sparks fires from underground, and you can see it's starting to happen up here in Canada. Let's get into here. I see some activity going on in here as well. Even over in this region. Look at that, starting to pop up again. These ones right here with yellow dots. These are the ones that I consider more viable. Even though it's not a strong plume, that's more of a fire at a site. Okay, now that activity is creeping into the lower 48, but up by Washington, Oregon. Here's your plume around the Bay Area. And this activity had traveled pretty far south, but no fires at south. So let me take that off because it can be distracting. All right, as we come on down, you can see all the SO2 through Mexico. We're looking at Florida. Look at Florida. It's just got a lot of SO2 emissions too. Very porous, very spongy type crust right through here. A lot of water inundation. It's basically a sandbar that's very tall. All right, here you got Cuba. Here you got Jamaica. All these islands out here, all volcanic islands spewing SO2 still. All through South America, down through our fulcrum point, zoom in, much bigger and more defined and darker. Same with this upper one. So I see an increase in pressure in that region, pushing out more SO2. Okay, look at your plume here. It's a dolphin jumping out of the water. Anyways, that's a pretty healthy sized plume. So a little uptick in pressure, shoving more gas out of the region. Okay, we'll come over to Hawaii just really quick. Okay, still going pretty strong there. Don't be surprised if we see some volcanic activity here in Hawaii pretty soon, maybe. Or you ought to see what Etna did. Oh boy. When I tell you we have erupting volcanoes, let me show you what Etna did here. When we get to the volcano report, I'll try to remember. All right, now, there's so much going on. Back up for their time zone. As you can see, China bleeding out. We had that big plume blow out into the Pacific yesterday. See how dispersed and blown around it is. Meanwhile, here's your emissions at Taiwan, still pretty dark and doing its job as well as it can. Take a look at Java here. This is the region I'm a little more worried about. Okay, still good emissions and everything. A lot of it blowing offshore or whatever, so it would be darker if all this was still over the land right there. So Java's doing its job, emitting pressure. Look at India darkening up now. It's starting to look more like China here. Same with this region. Okay. And some of you can know why. I'm not going to say it, but you can kind of put two and two together and you can see what's happening. And down here in Australia, they have their issues, as well as our little Pencil Island that we'll be referring to later in our earthquake report. Still fair emissions coming out of that island right there. So it's doing its job, relieving pressure as it comes into the plate boundary system. So get one angle off or something. There we go. OCD is a bit. All right. Meanwhile, there's your deep quake region here at Fiji. It's having SO2 emissions as well as the islands around it. Okay, so a lot of SO2 emissions going on around the world because of a new round of pressure that's coming up, coming up through from the bottom here. And let me just wiggle around a tad bit so I don't get too frustrated with this later on. All right. For your viewing pleasure, I'm trying to get the wavy lines out of there so you can see nice and clear. All right. Keep that in the back of your head. Now, what we want to do is get over here to our sea surface temperature anomalies because it has changed and we have a new configuration. Okay. Remember, we're talking about this vortex and hot and cold being together. Let me just go ahead and put the wind on right now. Wow. Ocean, SSG, wind, play. There we go. All right. Now you can see that this is more of one vortex. It's no longer two little split vortexes. Okay. And it has weakened. There's more cold water in this region. There's just this one little hot spot right there. Because of our quake, it actually relieved heat pressure or pressure in that region, reduced the heat emissions, and now we had cold water inundation, and we have more of that cold cycle over here that has slowed down in its rotation because there's not so much heat keeping it going. Meanwhile, look over here. All the heat over here is really doing a number. And what I want to try to capture, is it still here? Yeah. All right, as we get into this area, the center of the vortex, look how well it matches this little bubble right here, causing the dent that's causing the tidal rotation stretching out. You can see the heat configuration affecting the central rotation. Okay, and let me pull back because we're a little tight in on it. And let me come down a little bit. There we go. I got different tripods I'm trying to work with here, so bear with me. All right, that's a little bit better. And now you can see how it's actually corresponding with the heat signatures. There we go. Trying to get that white bar out of there. All right. So we have a different configuration now because of our heat structures. No more double vortex over on this side, and it is weakened when it comes to the coast. Look how the winds are kind of not as intense. They slow down, but they're circling back around and heading back out to shore. So a lot of this energy isn't making it into the west coast. There is this one little strip right through here, okay, a little bit sneaking in down south. But all in all, this thing has changed. You can see this region right here is all blue and cold because we've had that earthquake right there kind of help relieve the pressure there. So what I'm going to do is pull back, let you look at the little conveyor belt structure there. We'll come over here to this side. You see cold and hot next to each other. You see your conveyor belt. This is all hot air rising, cold air rushing in to replace it. There's your rotation. And look at this heat signature off the Gulf up here and cold over here, creating vortex rotation in there. Pretty crazy stuff, isn't it? If you see what's going on there. Anyways, down here you can see your pockets that have opened up in Africa all along down here. And there's your corresponding wind currents with it as well. And I think, yeah, look at this here at Australia. See how this vortex here is flowing stuff right up through it and spreading around. And we have another good rotation right out here. All right, let me take the winds off really quick. I want to take a peek here at Java. We still have this heat buildup right here offshore, right where the plate boundary is. Brian, is there currently a common propensity of volcanic activity? Yes, there is. And earthquakes. Common, what was this? Common recently along the Ring of Fire. Yes, it looks that way upon my review. Yes, it is. And it's all because every time the sun burp something at us and we absorb it, well, heat builds up down below. The earth absorbs it, and then heat builds up and it wants to expand outward in every direction. So it pushes on the underside of the crust, and any kind of perforations, which would be the plate boundary system that goes all the way around the Ring of Fire. Those are all, that's one long big perforation, one big crack. So that's why you're seeing earthquakes all around the Ring of Fire. And that's where you see it's your weak spots, the path of least resistance. And now you're seeing volcanic vents opening up on the ocean floor, all right? That's what all these heat plumes are being caused by, either hot water, steam, or magma, maybe even radioactive isotopes coming out of the core of the earth, pushing up through the crust, and then you get a heat plume, and it creates a column of hot water, and this hot water rises up through the strata of the water. There's down below, it's really cold, but then this huge column erupts, busting through the cold, rising all the way up to the surface. At the surface is what we call surface tension. All right, the heat can't bust up out of the water, so it spreads. Once it hits that surface tension, it spreads out in like a blossom in a cauliflower, like a mushroom cloud type effect. And then that's what you're seeing are the blossom tops of all that heat coming up, and it causes hot water. These hot water plumes all gathered around Tamumasi and all these little seamounts that are emitting stuff have created this big hot water patch out here as we head in towards winter. This evaporates a lot of water back into the air. Okay, a lot of there's probably steam coming off of it too. You might see steam, but cloud vapor, water evaporating back up into the air, thickening the air, the higher concentration water density in the air. Okay, so now your air is thicker, it has more water particles in it, and then you add ash to that, which the water droplets stick to, and you have just quadrupled your production for rain and precipitation. And this really out here in the middle is relieving pressure around the ring of fire. We would probably be seeing magnitude 8s and 9s all around the plate boundary if it weren't for something out here relieving a lot of pressure. This is a path of least resistance, so it robs other areas of pressure. If there's pressure built up here and a new spot opens, you'll get a transfer of pressure to come out the new spot. And speaking of transfer of pressure, remember we had this triangle shaped structure going on that was right here? Look at the top of the triangle has been busted off. Now it's really weak. It's just this little bulbous area down here. If you look at this pod area here by LA where we had yellow before, it's now colder. There's less pressure built up there, and we've seen a reduction in earthquakes magnitude in that area. There's a new spot opened over here. Transfer pressure, new pathway of least resistance. Hey, everybody run for that door, So there's that. Now, what was the other one I wanted to show more? We got this going on out here. Some of these little spots have disrupted our La Nina that's going on out there. So our predicted La Nina this year is going to be a little bit different. Harleyburg. Have you been listening to the music? Because I got a song for you, buddy, that you will just love. All right, meanwhile, let's get along this side of the South America right here. You can see this activity around the world. Okay? We'll leave it here for the moment and then get our earthquake page going. Please, Lord, can we have the earthquake? Thank you. I will get frustrated to be pounding on the computer because it's all froze up, and I go, wait, I forgot to say, please, Lord, can we have that? And then all of a sudden it works. Crazy. Current activity here in California that we'll get to in a minute. Let's drop into our regular spot, our deep quake region. No deep quakes in this area per se, but we do have a 4.9 down at 211. This is off of this plate boundary coming in at New Zealand down here. What do we do with 4.9s? Meanwhile, still no deep quake, but as we enter the plate boundary system, this island right here relieves pressure, so we don't see anything flying off right here at the beginning. Every time there's a mid-range 4, we used to see a 5 right around here, right around this area. Well, that's been nullified by the pressure release here. Rarely have we seen earthquakes along here, but occasionally we get a 4.5 down at 138. That's earthquake activity on the flank of a volcano at that depth, okay? And we have all kinds of volcano activity through this stretch, which keeps this down, your earthquake activity down in that region, and magnitudes down as well. Nothing in the deep quake region today, nothing along here today. Look how quiet it got all around here. There's your 4.5, your mid-range 4 at the surface, right off this plate boundary, and there's a little one. There's 2 mid-range 4s right here that just relieve some energy right there. As we come on up, nothing at your fulcrum points, but we had this event. Where to go? Right here. Here's where everything's going off. 6.1. Pretty healthy quake right there, especially at the surface. A lot of energy got scrubbed right there. Following with the 4.9, you know what we do with those. That's a 5, another 5, and a mid-range 4. So a 6, 2 5s, and a mid-range 4 relieved a bunch of energy right there. And what I tell you about, like, pressure transfer, you don't see anything over here because this area robbed it all. A bunch of pressure came out of this one spot. It's not a quake swarm. Now, that's your typical earthquake with aftershock activity. It's not a big, long duration quake swarm. It's one jolt with a few, smaller range aftershocks. Meanwhile, coming up to the Kamchatka, we're finally seeing something here. A 5.4, but it's down at 56. That's on the edge of this volcanic flank right there. That's earthquake activity on a volcanic flank is an indication of pressure down below. Where else? Let's cover the rest of this really quick before we hop into Mark. 5.1, down at 51. 4.4, down at 118. Right next door is a 4.2 at 125. Inside the mountain range right there, a 4.6 down at 113. Okay, let's hop into America. Oh, it probably irritates people when I say that. Here we go anyway. Fulcrum point, nothing. So many volcanoes going off here, relieves pressure. We haven't seen fulcrum point activity there since. 3.8 here at Rat Island, down at 35. 2 there, some micro quaking going along through here. That's good. There's Hopkinson. Hi. Meanwhile, just really small microquake activity going up through there. Here we go, hopping into California here with our big red dot. And it is a 4.0 here at Mammoth Lakes. We are seeing earthquake activity at a volcanic site really close to the surface. It's the biggest quake we've seen here in a little while. So there's your 4.0 activity there. And let's back up here. Nothing in the Juan de Fuca today, but right here at our fulcrum point, I still count this as activity there because it's the fulcrum point of it. It just pushes inland. Here's a 2.3, 2.4, and 1.6. And warning, McAfee's haunting us. Okay, something I want to talk about this one really quick. It's not a big quake, but it's the location. This quake activity that we've been seeing here every once in a while at this is a big peninsula of sand in the middle of this water. Let me just kind of take you out here and zoom in. You can see it's a big neighborhood out here. And it's on a big mountain of sand that reaches up from down below this water. All this underneath this, what's sticking up above the water, below it is water inundated, just like at the beach. All right, this structure is very fragile, and any kind of pressure makes it jiggle. This thing is going to collapse someday, I think, because we keep seeing little things like this, 2.0, and it's really shallow. So that's just underneath this structure. There's stuff shuffling around under there. One little sinkhole opens up down under here. This whole peninsula is going to slough and fall in and pull more of it in. That's a very dangerous spot to be in right there. I know it's probably expensive real estate, and I can't tell you to not go buy it, but that's a spot of interest that we'll have to watch in case something like that could happen. Okay, let me just go back a little bit. The big teardrop structure right here. You're seeing activity kind of on the fringe of it right here, but not much. It's been, a little lower lately. Since this, probably relieving some pressure. This is an indication that activity going on at this volcano here at Mammoth. And that's just down the street from me. So we'll have to take a peek out the window, make sure there's no plume sticking out the mountain range. 2.2, that's pretty small magnitude for that region. Oh, again, with this spot up here, it's not much, but it is a indication of a pathway of least resistance. This spot has opened up a while back, and every once in a while when we get a new round of pressure coming through, you see this little place light up as a path of least resistance. Place to watch in the future. Okay, so I think, we need to hop in here. Recent earthquake activity here, 3.6. That's a little higher in magnitude. 3.8 right there. Okay, here we go with our little uptick in magnitude. It used to be mid-range 2s, then it went to 3.2. Anything above 3.2 is kind of, I consider an uptick now because that's our new average. So when I see 3.8 right there and another 3.6 just now, there's a new little round of pressure has increased and kind of popping off in that area. Also here at Hawaii, come here, Hawaii. Okay, we have a red little dot on there. This quake swarm right here, right next to the cone. A lot of pressure coming up. This thing's plugged up, so you can see earthquake activity on the flank here. Recent 2.4, between 2s and 2 mid-range 2 right there. And then all around it here, you see little quake activity going on. So pressure at earthquake activity at the flank of a volcano, right at the top of it, right there, almost. So watch out, Hawaii might come to life here if we get another round, especially if we get this G1. Look at this. If we get this G1 and G2, say if that's what we get, and it's not any higher, that will still build more pressure and temperature down below. Okay, when temperatures increase down below, that's what causes stuff to expand. So when we absorb these two, that could cause more earthquake activity, higher magnitudes, more volcano activity, and we could see something possibly go off at Hawaii there. Okay, so there, we're done with that. Let's get the volcano report out the way. And if we can get this just right here. Okay, 37 erupting volcanoes and 33 active in warning. Okay, that's a total of 70. 7 years ago, when all this stuff started happening to me, there was just one volcano. The idea of there being any more than one was it was crazy. If I told you 7 years ago that there would be 70 active volcanoes, 37 currently erupting, you would have just said you're crazy. Well, here we are. There are 37 currently erupting and 33 active. That's 70 volcanoes. And I am still crazy about you. So let's get into it, shall we? Toby, Santa Guido, all nice little aerial pictures that you can see some of the SO2 emissions. Those are more like clouds. All right, Svarensky on Iceland, relatively stable since yesterday. Leon, 9,000. Ibu, 8,000. Luatobi, 14,000. Semaru, 14 or 15. Ducono, 7,000. Popocatépetl, 21,000. All right, we were talking about Popo the other day. It was at 19, and here we are at 21. Santa Guido, 13. Fuego, Sangay here at 20. Reventador, Reventador, Ecuador coming back online here. Sporadic ash emissions right there. And Sabancaya in Peru. That was just in the last few minutes. That isn't even today. Here's today, which is now yesterday, because, well, time flies at this channel, I'm telling you. There is the map of insanity. Note your volcanic activity along the plate boundary right there relieves pressure. Volcanic activity along this part of the plate boundary relieves pressure, keeping earthquakes, magnitudes, and earthquakes down. Okay, we should be seeing a lot bigger ones, but this perforations in the crust are relieving pressure. Okay, much like a pressure cooker has a little valve on the top, right? And don't forget, current activity currently erupting down in Antarctica. This is what happens when the earth cracks and a fissure opens up. Okay, pressure from down below stretches the skin of the earth until it cracks. And then a crack opens up and magma shoots up through that crack, being the path of least resistance. It wants to shoot up through it. You guys know this stuff. I feel like I'm talking to a kindergarten class. You guys aren't a kindergarten class. All right, Zvarensky, simultaneous still decreasing. Okay, Leon, 11,000 feet. Ibu, I be with you. Apparently, eruption reported. Luotobi, 14,000. Semru, 14 or 15. Dempo in Sumatra. Remember, that's the island right across from Java. So Dempo in Sumatra, relieving pressure at 11,000 feet. Dukono, Popocatépetl, 19. So 19 earlier, and then just a few minutes ago, 21. So uptick in pressure shoves blasts higher. Santa Guido, 15,000. Fuego, 16. Nevada del Ruiz, 20. And Songay, 19. Reventador, 15. Sabancaya, narrow plume of gases at 21,000 feet. While we're here, because they did not talk on there about, where is it? Is this the guy?
The newest eruption in the
There we
Sulu.
go. Just a second here. This guy, you guys got to come over and check out Dr. Astro Geotech every once in a while. He might have a funny accent or whatever, but he shows a lot of the latest stuff. Where was that latest one about? Look, 8 minutes ago, 1 hour ago, 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago. This is the one right here. He's constantly doing updates, and a lot of this volcanic activity that we're not seeing on the volcano report is actually taking place here. Please forgive me, doctor, but we got to show him this for this is for educational purposes. This is Etna going off right now with lightning, huge plume. Okay, so when you don't see it in that list and it's not, a measured plume height, does not mean it's currently erupting. Etna is currently erupting, as you can see, with quite the fury. All right. This is what happened when pressure down below builds up. The sun spits something at us, we absorb it. The magma down below heats up and swells. It wants to expand outward in every direction. And here's a perforation in the crust. And this is what happens when it finds the path of least resistance. It comes squirting out of a perforation or old volcano. Once the plug gets broken, once it clears a plug or opens up a new vent on the flank, or a new vent at the top, and then all of a sudden it's on, and you see it just huge plumes, very tall. Look at the flames way up here, and it's inducing lightning and everything like that. Okay, so that was Mount Etna. Now we come back over to here. Oh, get out of there, you guys. Mount Etna wasn't on there, was it? No mention about it on there at all, but let's see if we can get where's our list? Can we have I just might pop open this date just for the list at the bottom. Hang on, bear with me. There they are. Okay, so currently erupting. Barren Island, Bismani, all these are still erupting. All right, here's Etna, Sicily, Fernandina, Fuego. Some of these, here's Ibu, all right, Karaminski. Some of these we talk about, but here's Krakatoa, which used to be Krakatoa, one of the deadliest volcanoes in human history. Currently erupting. That's in the Sunda Strait in between Java and Sumatra. Luotobi, Luotolo, Marapi, Masaya, Murapi, Michaels, all of these are just constantly erupting. Popocatépetl, Reventador, Sabancaya. I mean, these are all the names that were usually, but there's other ones that are on this list that they don't talk about every night. And all of these over here, that any little uptick in pressure is going to take one of these and make it go active. Oh, it's already active, but it'll make it go full active. Here's Nevada del Ruiz that should be over here. It's hopping back and forth all the time. And this is just insanity. Here's Dempo. We just read about Dempo in Sumatra having an eruption, but here it is on this list. It should be currently erupting. All right, so some of these, they kind of spread them out and, shift them around to kind of make it look like it's not so insane, but you're still looking at this. This is crazy. Well, if I'd told you 7 years ago this was going to happen, you would have just laughed and said you're crazy. But I am. I'm crazy about you. And there's all your volcanic activity on the ocean floor as well. Okay. All right. Volcano report is done, son. Let's get on over to what's it gonna do here? Our weather. Some tidbits. We'll get some models, some really good looking hot models, and we'll forecast them. Okay, there we go. Meanwhile, current conditions right here. Let me slide just a little bit more so I can give you more of the map. Our activity off the west coast, our rotation here has weakened. Okay, so, and then I showed you the flow is more north to south and taking stuff back out. So I don't expect we'll see a lot of activity coming in through here. We might, but that was your current conditions. There's the morning of the 27th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 28th, noon, convection, nighttime. 29th. Actually, because, all right, there's morning of Thanksgiving. We got Thanksgiving travel plans. You're going to have this storm out here on the East Coast. You're going to have New York with snow, Pennsylvania with snow. Let me just go ahead and zoom in there really quick for you guys. Because if you're thinking of making travel plans and you're going to just do it because it's family, well, if you're going to be battling some weather, that's the region it's going to be. Mainly rain through that area region, but turning into snow up in there. And something about Thanksgiving. Do you guys ever realize that we were talking about that thankful heart? That Thanksgiving is actually a celebration of Jesus in a way, isn't it? When you're thankful for stuff, you're thankful for what he provides. Back to noon of Turkey Day, the afternoon, your evening. Then the next day, when people try to all travel, there's the morning, noon, convection, and nighttime. So pretty clear travel day for the day after Thanksgiving. Morning of the 30th, noon, convection, nighttime. December 1st, noon, convection, afternoon, or nighttime. Morning of the 2nd, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 3rd. So not until the 3rd do we start to see some kind of moisture kind of come up through here and something start to address the British Columbia, Puget Sound area up there. But that's not until around the 3rd. Now we're convection of the 3rd, nighttime. It looks severe up there. We'll watch that to see if that happens, but that's still too far out to be accurate. So morning of the 4th, noon, convection, nighttime, 5th, noon, convection, nighttime, 6, noon, convection, nighttime, 7, noon, convection, nighttime, 8. Wow. See, something like that swinging around, all this moisture whipping back around and hitting cold air like that, that could produce some really heavy snowfalls. It's not, it's way out there, but this is a model or an example of what we need to watch out for. The potential of these things right here firing up. And you see it was just kind of a blob there, a little cold, warm air mass mix. You see your severe weather in the middle, but then as it starts to push offshore, it gets even more severe in the morning hours. When cooler air hits this moist air, it fires up in the morning now. Whoops. What happened there? So, and then the morning of the 7th, you get that whip. That's your nor'easter effect right there. So let's pray that doesn't happen. but that's the season that we're in, where that cold air mass and warm moist air mass collide, and then you get the like morning time convection instead of afternoon convection. All right, so looking pretty clear, except for Turkey Day. You do have this storm here out on the East Coast, but if you're a day ahead of it, you might make it there in time, and then ride the storm out with your Thanksgiving in the snow and rain, and then the next day it clears out and you can escape with good weather. All right, that's some good news finally to report. Now let's get over to our spiritual report. Okay, that's what you guys been waiting for. I know, because I can hear you. And thank you for tolerating all the scientific reporting and stuff too to get to this part. We're just gonna go right to this one right here while we're here. Yeah, everybody put your glasses on so you can see what I'm going to show you in case you have poor eyesight. All right. There we go. Get rid of some of these other instruments and pull up some other image here, and we'll get to some reading. So, a couple more of you have been doing your homework, and you heard the code in the music. So, congratulations to you guys. I know it seems a little weird, and how could it have been hiding there the whole time, right? Yep, that code was in your music the whole time. And I was a little blown away too when I found out. I was like, what? This can't be true. Come on now. And then after being walked through it and guided through it, now you just hear it everywhere you go. And what's kind of cool is once you get the hang of this and you're looking up in your clouds, you'll see other faces in the clouds too. All right. It's not just my face. There are all kinds of characters hanging out in your clouds. Remember, I showed you these ones, the Grinch and the dragon and stuff like that. So when you're like cruising along in the car and you're rolling down the highway and you hear the code in the music, you're rocking while you're rolling, rock and roll. So you're driving, you hear the music playing, you hear the code in the music, and you're seeing this stuff in the clouds while hearing the code. When you see this stuff while hearing the code and the music at the same time, it will twist your melon, and then it'll also kind of make you think, where am I really? Where are you really? You know? So very, very effective. And I know it's a strange message that the code is, but it happens to be part of the truth, and that's how this works. Okay? So I got some good stuff for you tonight. Is that where I wanted to go? I think I wanted this one with these. Wait. Hang on, give me a second here. Yep, that's it right there. What's this stuff for? Okay, that can go before. Oh, good. All right, so I guess we got a couple extra things that went before the message that precede the preceding of the preceding message. So everybody just take a nice deep breath. Hold it for a second. Exhale. Take a couple more deep breaths. Get in a comfortable position. Relax. Understand where you are and who you're with. And come away with me for a while. The world, with its nonstop demands, can be put on hold. Did you know that? Did you know that all the news events and all that stuff can be put on hold? And most people put me on hold instead, rationalizing that someday they will find time to focus on me. So they put me on hold thinking, I got later on, I'll focus later on, but not right now. The nonstop demands of this world are too much. And sometimes they can be they're too much. And remember, they can be put on hold. And that's what this stuff is all about, is learning how to put that stuff on hold and come away with me for a while. But most people put me on hold and they think that someday they will find time to focus on me later. But the longer people push me into the background of their lives, the harder it is for them to find me. So when you're doing that, the longer you push me into the background, the harder it is to find me. So you live among people who glorify busyness. They have made time a tyrant that controls their lives. And even those who know me as Savior tend to march to the tempo of the world. They've bought into the illusion that there is more, that more is always better, and more meetings, more programs, and more activity means you're more successful. It's not how, that's totally backwards. They've bought into the illusion that more is always better, and it's not. But I have called you to follow me on a solitary path, making time alone with me your highest priority and deepest joy. It's the pathway largely unappreciated and often despised. That word despised. How many of you have heard people despising you in their tone, the way they talk to you? Now you hear it more. You hear them despise you, and it kind of might rattle you a little bit. Okay, how did I want to talk about that one? Again, I've called you to follow me on a solitary path, making time alone with me your highest priority and deepest joy. It's the pathway that's unappreciated and often despised. But however, you have chosen the better path, which will never be taken away from you. Now, as you walk close to me, I can bless others through you. That's what we've been working on. So that was your preceding message. Now here's the message, because I am nearer than you think, richly present in all your moments. You are connected to my love. Here, let's put this one up here real quick. There we go. You are connected to my love bonds that nothing can sever. Do you see those love bonds up there? Those are love bonds that nothing can sever. That's the part you need to take solace in and get your comfort in. That's something that can never be taken away from you. All right, that love right there. Let me zoom this in a little bit better for that image. That's a very important image, you guys. That's real deal. It was painful to take these pictures. It's hard to hold that camera up for a long time with shattered shoulders. I am nearer than you think. I am closer than you think. I'm already here. I'm richly present in all of your moments, aren't I? Now that you guys know that I'm here and you're practicing this, aren't I richly present in all your moments? You are connected to me. by those love bonds that you see up there that nothing can sever. Now, you may sometimes feel alone because your union with me is invisible. Well, now it's becoming kind of visible, isn't it? So now you won't feel so lonely. You won't feel alone. You are never alone. So you may sometimes feel alone because your union with me was invisible. Now it's visible. When you ask me to open your eyes so that you can find me everywhere, the more aware you are of my presence, the safer you feel. That's what this show, that's what I offer. Safety too, comfort. You see that right there? The more aware you are of my presence, the safer you feel. And this is not some sort of escape from reality either. It's tuning in to the ultimate reality. You're looking at the ultimate reality there. Okay? This is temporal. This will fade away. This physical realm will fade away. But up there is your ultimate reality. And I am far more real than the world you can see, hear, and touch. Faith is the confirmation of things we do not see and the conviction of their reality, perceiving as real fact what is not revealed to the senses. Okay, so you had a faith before this that was not revealed to the regular senses. That faith was confirmed by things that were unseen that happened to you, right? Now you have eyes to see, and you see that I am indeed far more real than the world that you see, hear, and touch. I am far more real than the physical world that you think. Okay? Perceiving as real fact what is not revealed to the senses. Okay, so we do a lot of our salvage work with with emotions, because it's our emotions that kind of rule us, and sometimes we have to deal with those. And the way to deal with your emotions when they get kind of out of control is bring me all your feelings, even the ones you wish you didn't have, especially the ones you wish you didn't have. Okay? You can bring me the ones you're thankful that you have, but bring me all your feelings, especially the ones you wish you didn't have, like fear and anxiety. Okay? Because this stuff can be scary. It's understandable. I was scared first too. It's crazy, I'm like, what? What? So I understand and I can relate that fear and anxiety still plague you. Feelings per se are not sinful, but they can be temptations to sin. Okay? Feelings themselves aren't sinful, but they can be temptations to fear. They can be temptations to anxiety, right? So these blazing missiles of fear and anxiety fly at you day and night. These attacks from the evil one come at you relentlessly, don't they? That's why you use your shield of faith to extinguish those flaming arrows. You guys have been doing that. That's what this has been all about. And you guys have been using your shield of faith that extinguished those flaming arrows of fear and anxiety. Huh? Doesn't this image your shield of faith up there? Doesn't that extinguish your fear and anxiety? those flaming arrows. So affirm your trust in me, regardless of how you feel. Regardless of how you feel, affirm your trust in me. And if you persist, your feelings will eventually fall in line with your faith. Might not happen right at the first one, might take a little longer, it might take a while, but if you're persistent, your feelings will eventually fall in line with your faith. So do not hide from your fear or pretend it isn't there, okay? Because a lot of people, oh, I'm not scared. Yeah, you're pretending it isn't there. So do not hide from your fear or pretend it isn't there. Anxiety that you hide in the recesses of your heart will give birth to fear. And they will give birth to the fear of fear. So don't fall into that trap. Don't hide from your fear or pretend it isn't there. The anxiety that you hide in the recesses of your heart, that's what gives birth to the fear of fear. It's a monstrous stepchild. So bring your anxieties out into the light of my presence, where we can deal with them together. Concentrating on trusting me, and fearfulness will gradually lose its foothold within you. People are starting to freak out right now, and you're not. You're not freaking out as much as they are. You're actually doing really well. But you're understanding that anxiety that you hide in the recesses of your heart, there's still some in there. It's still hiding in the recesses of your heart. So watch out. It can give birth to fear. All right. So that's why you use the shield of faith to extinguish that anxiety, to extinguish that fear, those flaming arrows that come at you day and night. Concentrating on trusting me, and fearfulness will gradually lose its foothold within you. Okay, now back to this one. It was making my face in the clouds here. Okay, it's not what we're talking really about, but what I need you guys to understand is this is my face in the clouds coming with power and great glory, just like this one. But here in this case, when you seek my face, you will find all that you have longed for. So you seek my face, and look what you find. Behind my face here is the Holy of Holies, all that you've longed for. So seek my face, and you will find all that you have longed for. The deepest yearnings of your heart are for intimacy with me. I know, because I designed you that way. I designed you to desire me. So do not feel guilty about taking time to be still in my presence. I repeat, do not feel guilty about taking time to be still in my presence. You are simply responding to the tugs of divinity that are within you. Tugs of divinity that are within you. You are simply responding to the tugs of divinity that are within you. I made you in my image, and I hid heaven in your heart too. So your yearning for me is a form of homesickness, longing for your true home in heaven. So do not be afraid to be different from other people. I repeat, do not be afraid to be different from other people. The path I have called you to travel is exquisitely right for you. So the more closely you follow my leading, the more fully I can develop your gifts. To follow me wholeheartedly, you must relinquish your desire to please other people. Your closeness to me will bless others by enabling you to shine brightly in this dark world. You guys are shining bright in this dark world, aren't you? Yeah, you were seeking my face and you found all that you longed for. The real deal. And now you guys are actually putting this stuff to practice. You're practicing these disciplines. A person that give me a sip. A person that practices disciplines is a disciple by default. That's a definition, really. So if you're practicing these disciplines, that makes you a disciple. And when you really get the true effect and you find the peace that transcends your circumstances, then you're still a disciple. That makes you even more of a disciple. And if you are going from a bad day and you're fighting to salvage it and turn it around and be positive and bring that into your day, then you are going from glory to glory to glory. If you see my face here in the clouds with a crown here indicating power and great glory, this is my face in the clouds coming with power and great glory. When you guys see wars and rumors of wars, you're actually enduring wars and rumors of wars, earthquakes and volcanoes in diverse places. And you look up and you see me in the clouds coming with power and great glory. It's fascinating. It's intriguing. You get caught up in it. You can't help but get caught up in it. It's just, it takes you away from your circumstances at the moment. You forget about tomorrow's plans. You forget about the bills that you got to pay for the moment. You're here with me in the clouds, caught up with me in the clouds, where we meet in the air of cyberspace. It's called live streaming on YouTube. Okay, a lot of people do it. A lot of you like to go to all these different channels to be in those chat rooms so you can be with your family members in the air too, right? So when you go from chat room to chat room, from channel to channel, you're going from family to family to family. You're meeting them in the air of cyberspace as well, just like you do with me. I created a place here at YouTube, my channel, that where I am, you may be also. It doesn't have to be a live stream. You could click on any video at any time. All of this stuff is timeless. It doesn't matter what time of the day you're having your breakdown. Come over here, click on this part of the video, look at this and say a prayer, or listen to my voice, or whatever it takes for you to regain your composure and salvage your day. You guys are kicking ass at this too. You really are. Because most people give it a half a try, and then they give up on the first try when they didn't get the exact desire that they wanted. It took a little longer. It took some effort. It took some time. It took some belief and some trust. But for those of you who do believe and who do trust, you have found the key to joy. You can joy in your tribulation. Your tribulation, you're overcoming. Every time you overcome something, you get a glory. You are going from glory to glory to glory. You are glorying in your tribulation. Aren't you? Aren't you? Yes, indeed you are. Because you are a child of God. You really are. That's how this is. It's how it works. The moment you trust me and believe me is the moment you become a child of God. That's if you want it. I mean, these are real images. I turned these ones 90 degrees so you could see them just a little bit better there. Okay. And here it is turning into the lion face. That's the weird transition frame right there, kind of. But these ones right here is your foundation. your rock on which you can build on. You can rebuild on it. You can lean on it. You can trust on it. It brings peace, encouragement. It brings courage also, healing, everything. Everything. I offer everything to you for free. This is a gift that I give to the ones I love that love me. Okay, you guys are doing awesome. I'm so thankful that you gave me a moment of your time. I went through a lot of insane asylums because the doctor wouldn't give me 5 minutes of his time. Imagine what he's going through now. But you're not. You gave me a moment of your time, and you guys are indeed working. You're doing it. It's actually working, and you're getting your results, and that's why you come back each night, because I bring the peace. It transcends your circumstances. You get caught up with me for a little while. It takes you away from your circumstances. And then when you go back later to your physical world, remember your headlines and your news. You are the one who's plugging into it. If it starts to get you upset, unplug from the news. Put on some weird country music on a radio station or something, like just anything to take your mind away from your stressor. Okay, and then it's important to recognize what are the things that trigger you. What are your triggers? What stresses you? What triggers you? I tell you guys mine. For instance, my biggie is people driving while on their phones, because it's very reckless. People can get hurt. All right. So that's my pet peeve. And I work on my issues every day. Okay. Instead of screaming at the car next to me, oh Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the fact that they're gonna do this even on the ice in the wintertime because they're addicted to their cell phones. Right. So that's how it works. It's for your peace of mind. It is for your mental health, because the world is crazy and you aren't. You have your mental stability while everybody else is losing it. Well, it looks the opposite way around to them. Interesting how this works, isn't it? But it is indeed the truth. I am the truth. And you are caught up with me in the clouds where we meet in the air as a family. I went and made a place at where I am. You may be also. And then you understand your identity and who you really are. Makes you kind of feel nice and warm and fuzzy inside, knowing how special you are to me. Okay? That's it for tonight. I gotta go. I got duty calls. I don't want. I want to spend more time with you guys, but duty calls. I have to get going here. So I love you all. Let me just go through really quick here and thank John and Leslie and Brad. All you guys, Jimmy, thank you for being here. Hopkinson, sorry you got here late, darling. Leslie, I think we got them all. Harley Berg, if you're still there at the end of this, I'm going to post some music in my community, but it's not for everybody. Okay, this is more like rock and roll. It has the code in it, but it's more for maybe like Harley or for people that like heavy metal. All right, it's okay to like heavy metal, rock and roll music. It all has the code in it. Doesn't matter. Once you see the code runs through all kinds of music, you will realize that there is not there's not like a bad way to perceive music. Okay, so we'll get into that as we continue on, but I might post a few little examples in the community of the code in the music, better defined examples that are very complex and would blow you away when you hear it. So it's mainly for the music lovers who enjoy rock and roll and want to kind of dig deeper into the musical code. All right, and learn how to write music in masterpieces as well. I can teach you how to write masterpieces as well. So I think that's it for tonight. Is that it, Lord? Got any other things for him? Okay, no, that's it. We're going to wrap it up. Also, yes, everybody have a good Thanksgiving. I'll probably be back tomorrow. So before Thanksgiving, we'll have another show. So if you guys don't make it to the show tomorrow, happy Thanksgiving. And remember, there's lots of things to be thankful for. Okay. They all come from the sacrifice. So you got a little list of thankfuls. I love it. I love doing thank you for the roof over my head. Thank you for a bed, a blanket, a pillow, all of which are blessings that came from your sacrifice, Lord. Then all of a sudden they really become protected blessing. You understand that it all of those were. I know a lot of you are rockers. You just didn't know why. But a lot of these blessings, um, if you attach them to the sacrifice, thank you for, even if you got a nice car and material stuff, blessings in your life that came from the sacrifice. When you recognize them and just recognize them, say, hey, thank you. Thank you for sacrificing so I can have turkey, a hot dinner, whatever it is. It all came from one place. It all comes from one place right there, the sacrifice right there, the Holy of Holies. So during Thanksgiving, you guys have even more reason to be thankful than the average person, don't you? Who's just going to sit there, yeah, thank you for this, thank you for that, where you will be rich and full, and you will see everything as a blessing. The fork you eat with, the napkin you wipe your mouth with, the plate, the paper plate, or whatever. Every single thing is a blessing when you look at them, and you're just going to see with deeper, richer results. You will live more fully, and you'll be more thankful at Thanksgiving. While everybody else is arguing, you'll be there, the peacemaker, going, I'm thankful I got crazy family members. God, grant me the serenity to accept the fact that Uncle Bill is going to fly off the handle or whatever. Okay, that's how it works. Grant me the serenity to accept the fact that my in-laws might not agree or blah, 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 right? That's how it works. And I'm thankful for you guys giving a moment of your time. And I'm also thankful for the ones that are applying these disciplines in their life and finding success, the peace. It's so vital to find that peace. And I was able to find that trick, that tool, and I want to pass that on to you. Okay, I don't charge for this tool. I'll just leave it sitting on the sidewalk so you can pick it up and use it too. All right. So that's it for right now. I love you guys. I miss you guys. Until my next show, I am a man of my word. I will be back. I am already back. Can't you tell? Love you all. Bye.